The F-14 is one of the most recognizable fighters in the sky, not just because it was in Top Gun 2, but because of its iconic sweeping wing motion. And for the people who are thinking, but aren't there already paper F-14s on the internet? These are like 90% cutting and gluing, unlike a modern paper plane where you take a piece of paper and fold it into the result. Even though there are proper paper F-14 videos, they don't match the sweeping motion as well, and they resemble paper models more than functional paper planes that can fly. But props to this guy for making this video because it turned out quite well, and I honestly don't know if I can make it any better than this. Also, if you don't know what's going on, this is a series where you turn every jet aircraft into a functional paper plane. So I'd like to clarify, this is not a tutorial. It has no pre-thought, so I show how I came up with the idea during the vid. But I am working on making tutorials for these anyway, so stay tuned for that. My first idea was to take an already existing simple fighter jet tutorial and then modifying the wings and body section so then it could match the F-14. Of course, I didn't cut this section yet. I'm gonna leave that for the tail section. I think that's gonna be last. But see here, this is supposed to be a model based off the F-15, and for here, for the F-14, kind of ends here, so where this is the wings are gonna move around. So I'm thinking of cutting it here and then sort of folding it and gluing it back here, so now we have the section where we can put the wings. Alright, after cutting this, now it does match the front. You can see it ends here. So that's a pretty good match. So now for this, where the wings are going to be, it kind of, I don't know, some sort of shape here. So I'm thinking of cutting around here, right? I'm going to focus on the tail later, but then have a piece of paper on top. So now I have a slot where the front is closed, but the sides are open. So that's where I can put in the wings. I didn't have a template, so I just tried to match the body as close as I could. For the open part at the wing base, I cut a semicircle and then glued it on top to cover it. This is actually turning out like way better than I thought. So I have this pocket here, right? And this is where the wings should go. So thinking of folding two wings, right? And then they can move this way. But for it to like kind of move, actually I'm thinking of, because I don't have a hole puncher, but I have a 3-way hole puncher, and I'm thinking of doing both sides, right? Because I can, I can fit it through. I didn't really have a template, so I just tried to cut the wings as close to a picture I had of the F-14 wings. So, but it did turn out pretty close to the actual thing. And since I did realize the tail section was a little too short, I replaced the back wings with some tubes so then it could resemble the engine. As you can see, it's a 3-part mechanism, so this is how I'm envisioning the wings to unfold. I started to do some minor adjustments to the back just so then it would match the length, and then I started finishing the wings. As you can see now, everything is pretty much done except for the actual functional part for the wings, so that's what we're going to be doing now. And I'm kind of having trouble finding the right, pivot point, because if I do it wrong, then it's gonna not, I have to get it to be able to be here and here, and I'm having trouble trying to find that right pivot point. So I'm trying to think how I could do this without like kind of messing it up. I would be lying if I wasn't struggling, because I was just trying to figure out how to get this to be right, because I really did not want to mess this up. So after a few marks, instead of using the hole puncher because the hole was too big, I used a skewer to make the tiny hole and then put the tiny tube through. I made the hole. We're going to use a stick just to see, because I have no idea if this is actually going to work. Alright, final test. Yeah! You can tell I was pretty happy that it actually ended up working. So I just finished up the whole thing, added some, made some paper tubes and put through each hole and cut them. And now we got the finished product. Boom. We have both modes fully working. And this looks like absolutely incredible. As always, I'm gonna do one with just no adjustments. Let's just see. I'm thinking it's gonna be really nose heavy. That's what I'm guessing. So I might have to add some pitch trim in the back. But let's just see how it flies without any adjustments. After the first few attempts, I realized I was just being way too scared to throw this thing, and I also didn't have enough space. So I was throwing it really gently, causing it to not have enough room to fly. So I moved to a place that has some more room, because honestly, I'm just scared of throwing it because I just don't want the head to just get destroyed. So I'm kind of throwing it slower, which is causing it to not gain much lift. So I'm gonna try one more time. I'm just gonna go on in for this one, but like not all in, but just I'm gonna try to chuck it. Yeah, that was much better. So I didn't do as much flying now. You can just tell like the nose is getting kind of crunched up like every sort of plane that has that kind of pointy nose. But for being like one of the most complicated planes, it definitely had one of the flew like a dart. I'm not sure how it would do outside, but it did fly much. I think this one flew the best compared to all these. I know some of you guys were wondering for like a tutorial. I have no idea if I'm gonna be able to do a tutorial for this because a lot of this was looking at some diagrams. It's kind of, you know, eyeballing the way. So I have no idea if this will be able to, like, I don't know, you guys will be able to follow how to make this. I'll try to work on it. Okay, bye, subscribe.